Hello, everybody. Hello. This is Chris. How are you guys? Welcome to the live chat thing, to the stream. It's the 1st of November and we're about to get into it. Let me share my screen so we can get started. Today, we're going to review a design that's basically a comparison between a website that won and a design that won and one that didn't win. And these are the two designs in question. But before we get into that, I just came back from a walk. I did about 3 or 4 kilometers, something about that. That would be, I think, about 3 miles in freedom units. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Today has been a very busy day. As always, I have my trusty massage gun, which I absolutely love. I know it looks weird as hell, but I absolutely love it. And I just wanted to remind you guys that this is an absolute game changer in terms of back pain and whatever. It's really fantastic, and as you can hear it, it's actually quite silent, so I love it. This is a lifesaver for me. Sitting so long down, my back is really acting up. So it's been a pretty busy and difficult day for my back. I'm still getting back treatment. I'm doing some laser stuff, basically 6 days out of the week. And the massage gun, I absolutely love it, so I strongly recommend it. Besides that, other deals, I'm reading this book, Venture Deals, which is very boring and very time consuming. I read about 40% of it, about 100 and so pages. This is why my eyes are so red, and this is why I'm so tired. I'm thinking of maybe getting some funding for my company, for my oatmeal company. And this is a must read. It's basically very technical stuff, very business oriented language. And it's so boring, you wouldn't believe it. But you have to know everything regarding dilution and just about everything that is regarding VCs and venture capital deals and getting investment in general. There's loads of things that you have to be careful. Otherwise, you may end up getting fired from your own company or getting screwed when it comes down to selling the company and whatnot. And this book has been a game changer. So I'm really happy about that. So those are some of the things that have been on my mind. And one more non-designer thing regarding improving my performance and just feeling better in general. Recently, something popped up into my YouTube feed. It's about CBD oil. Now, CBD, if you don't know what that is, and it seems like everybody is basically investing in this type of thing, it's basically a supplement that basically it's the part of the marijuana plant, of the cannabis plant, that doesn't get you high. I'm not sure my pronunciation is great, but in any case, it seems like this CBD stuff, the part that doesn't get you high, is absolutely fantastic for back pain, for sleeping better and whatnot. Now, that sounds fantastic. That sounds great. I actually heard about this stuff the first time around from a comedian, from Bill Burr, and he had some shoulder pain and he used something, a roll-on, and basically it went away. It was absolutely fantastic. So I started researching it, and long story short, it's incredibly difficult to find the part that 100% doesn't contain any THC, the part that doesn't get you high. It's really difficult. Nothing on Amazon is actually the real deal. You can only find the real deal on some sketchy websites, or if you don't have any reviews. So, long story short, I'm stuck. So if you know about this stuff, or if you have any sites that you really trust that sells this type of thing, please let me know, because I'm interested. I'm not sure if the thing is actually useful, if it's gonna help me with my back pain, if it's actually gonna help me with my sleep, with my concentration or whatever. But as you probably know, if you've looked at my freelancing course, I'm all about getting an edge, doing anything I can do to stay in tip-top shape and improve my performance. So yeah, that's how my Sunday has went so far. It's 6 p.m. and I still have loads to do. But let's get into this design review and we'll see what's what. Now, we have a design on the left and one on the right. Now, at the first glance, do you know which one actually won the design competition? If you look at it right here, if you if you had to choose, would it be 1 or number 2? 1 being on the left and 2 being on the right. Let me know in the general chat. It should be pretty obvious. The right one. Okay. Okay, number 2. So yeah, I'm happy that someone says that there are loads of contests regarding CBD on 99 Designs. It's the new gold rush. Everybody wants to create a company that sells CBD because it's basically not regulated. You can slap that label onto just about everything, and it doesn't actually have to contain the actual stuff. So people say number 1. Okay. Okay. So let me actually tell you the winner at the end. Let's review them step by step, right? Let's have a look at this one. Now, the first impression is that this is very clean, right? And I love the fact that some websites really manage to do this very well. If you have a look here at this particular background, you can see the color. This is extremely white, but not pure white. It's F7, F7, F7. It's something that I use quite often. I actually tend to go just a bit lower down. I usually go with E3, E3, E3. But yeah, this specific color code is fantastic because any type of brown text is gonna look amazing. So this is something that you should definitely steal. This type of gray. In essence, when you're starting out as a designer, you really have to steal a bunch of color codes. And getting your grays right is absolutely essential. So please make sure that you have a notepad or whatever and you memorize 2 or 3 color codes. What I would do is the following. I would get a totally neutral looking gray. This would be I think about that around this region, right? So this would be considered neutral. Let me just add a quick one, a pretty big one so you can see the difference, right? So this would be considered fairly neutral, and this is very popular. But now we also have something like this, a very light blue, and getting the right shade is critical. So getting somewhere around this region is again something that you have to look for. And now this would be the second one, a cool shade of blue, very, very soft. And then obviously we would have some type of brown, something like this, so really warm. Right, so something along these lines. Let me actually exaggerate just a little bit because I know that this is actually 720p. If you're watching it on YouTube, obviously this is crystal clear. But yeah, something around this part. Not too feminine though, not too peach pink, right? You want a brown that still looks nice, right? So let's have a quick look here and see if we get something a bit... It's really hard to do on stream because again you're probably not getting the subtle changes between it. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would get 3 colors, 3 shades of gray that I would basically use in all my projects. That's the very first thing. 3 shades, 1 neutral, 1 blue, 1 brown. The next thing that I would do, I would definitely grab 3 to 4 sans serif fonts, 3 to 4 serif fonts, and 1 or 2 handwritten fonts. I think the handwritten fonts are the most important ones because in general, clients love them. Now, if you use any type of sans serif font, that's totally cool, professional, let's go with Montserrat because everybody uses Montserrat or Open Sans, whatever. That can get boring really fast. But if you add in a bit of something handwritten, just a few words here and there, or maybe just a sentence, clients absolutely love them. So that's how I would do it. Now, getting back to this specific design, as you can see, because this shade allows for maximum contrast, you can use a dark text layer. Now, because the font is so big, as you can see, this is quite huge, you have to use a decent color. You never actually use T3T or something like that in this specific case because it looks too boring. It looks just plain, something it's not gonna grab your attention. So what this specific guy did here, he probably sampled this logo, which I don't think is a good idea. In general, I don't think you should sample your color scheme from the logo. I understand that thought process and I go in depth talking about that in my courses, but in short, don't do it. The main reason for it, one of the most common things you'll see when you're working with clients is that their logo is 20 years old. It's from whatever, 2000, 2002. 1998, and obviously, when you have something so outdated, it's not gonna have a decent color code. But because it's such a small thing, specifically in this specific case, let's say this is a nasty shade of green, right? So a shade of green that has no place in being used anywhere. Let's say whatever. Let's go with something crazy, something like that, right? So this specific shade of green should not be used in large amounts, right? If this is a very small logo, sure, then you're not going to be all that bothered by it, right? It's not going to upset you all that much. But if you plan on using it in a hero setting, right, or a sub-hero setting, or in general in decent quantities, that's going to suck. So please never use the logo as the main inspiration. But actually, sorry, to be more precise, you can use it as an inspiration. You know that you have to use a shade of green, but don't use that specific color code. That's the essence. Don't use that specific color code. So again, this is pretty good. The color here could have been better. This is a bit... again, I would go more for something like this, right? Something along these lines. Let's actually go through the motions. Find your taste, right? And I would go for something darker, something probably along these lines. Now, you could say the following. You could say, hey, if we keep this neutral, the call to action is going to stand out more. If you use such a rich color, such a vibrant color, obviously the call to action may not stand out as much, right? Because basically you're just competing for attention, and obviously it's not great, especially since this is so large. So I get that point, but all in all, I would still go for something a bit more saturated with a bit more life into it, right? So that's something that I would totally do here. Now, all in all, this is not a great hero area. This is a hero area that goes very well on 99 Designs, on Design Crowd, and this is the type of thing that clients that pay $200 really appreciate. Again, I really want to make this distinction, and I'm gonna do it all over again in all my streams. It's one thing to create a $200 or a $400 website. It's another thing to actually create a beautiful website, a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 website that's actually going to be implemented like that. What you see here is not the real deal. This is not, it's very unlikely that this is going to be used. And even if it's going to be used, it's only going to be used maybe half of it. Maybe the color combination, maybe the photo, but that's it. It's not going to be actually replicated. It's not going to look the way it looks right here in the actual design. So especially this part right here, that's not going to be used. Maybe this part is going to get used. But yeah, in general, you should expect that it's not going to be replicated as is. Now, moving on down, continuing along that path, that this is just a template, basically. This is just an edited template for $200 or something along those lines. You can see the logo doesn't have any name, which is not a great idea when it comes to a desktop website. I mean, I understand the idea, but if you're not Nike or Adidas or Sony or whatever, you know, you can't use just a symbol. Oh, actually, Sony doesn't make sense. But yeah, you get the idea. Nike, for example, right? If you're not an incredibly huge company, you should not use the logo, and that's that. Now, you as a designer, what you have to do is, sometimes clients have the following logo. They have a logo like this, a very small icon, and then some huge title here, right? This is what some companies do. They have something crazy along these lines, right? Maybe something like that, right? So this is their actual logo, right? Now, obviously, this is not cool. Obviously, this is way too large. So what I tend to do, what I did in the past when I encountered these situations, I would just remove the text, right? Now, again, in general, you're not allowed to do that. But if you're dealing with a small client or a design competition, you're okay with that. So please keep this in mind, because again, there's two very different worlds. If you're not participating in design competitions, you have to have a totally different mindset. So this is why I'm going to go on a tangent each and every time, because it's one lane here and another lane here. Now, let's keep this going. Log in and the cart. Okay, this is pretty good. Why Java Joe Club? Okay, perfect. Okay, New flavor, 5-star reviews. So you can see that this specific designer is extremely lazy because we have lorem ipsum here and lorem ipsum here. It's basically the same thing. I appreciate at least the fact that we have different text layers here. I'm sorry that I don't have the design at full quality, but it is what it is. But yeah, this is not a good sign, right? Again, this is the amount of attention to detail that, again, for the very low amount of money that you're supposed to expect. What's inside the bag? Again, loads of lorem ipsum, but again, this is pretty nice. Choose plan. So we do have a constant call to action. We have a call to action here, another one here and here. And then how it works, this is not left aligned, which is a big deal. Yeah, this is not left aligned. This is quite a big deal. Decently done, 01, 02, 03. This is, again, fairly modern, pretty good stuff. Social media feed, we're not really clear what this is. Probably Instagram. Again, if the client is an older gentleman and he knows, someone told him, hey, you should promote your Instagram account because that's a good idea. He's really gonna resonate with this specific part. And for you as a designer, look, it's just 3 rectangles, a clipping mask. It's really easy to get up and running. Join the newsletter, and then, yeah, basically a standard footer. Nothing crazy, a 6 out of 10. It's decent, it's not great. So this is the first design. I know I spent quite a lot of time on it. Let's have a look at this one. And this one I do have at a full quality. Now, let's take it one at a time. First of all, this is not cool, right? So this part is the most important part. This is actually way more important than this part right here, than the actual navigation, because this is a conversion point. This is what you want people to actually do. You want to make them register. You want to be able to, for the users to actually check out what they have in their cart, how much they're spending, how many items they have, and whatnot. So this part is the most important part, believe it or not. Regarding the search box, if this is a subscription service, this is not needed, right? And in case the client does want a search bar, all you have to do is just use the icon. Use basically something like 40 by 40 in terms of size, and that's about that. But using such a small search field is unacceptable. This nearly 2021 is not acceptable, and this is one of those things that gives your lack of experience away. It's this part right here that shows that you're a beginner and that you don't know what you're doing, because that's not usable. That's the trademark of a designer that hasn't actually worked on any designs that have actually been implemented. So this is a dead giveaway that you have no idea what you're doing. Next here, there should be some type of separation between this part and this part. Just using whatever, the 40 pixels is not enough. So there isn't a clear structure here, and because of that, most clients won't love it. Now, is the photo beautiful? Yeah, obviously. This is miles better than this one, right? This is much more impactful, but because of the fact that it's so short, it just doesn't have that wow factor, right? It just doesn't scream, high quality. It doesn't scream luxury. So all in all, I think most people would actually prefer this one, right? Now moving on down, let me keep this at this specific size. Again, the designer really insisted on the fact that, the style, the overall aesthetics is what's gonna actually win the design competition, which is the great way to go about it. Because again, when you're dealing with design competitions, you don't have to care about the handover process, how the developer is actually going to implement it, how was the conversion rate and whatnot. You just want to win. So I'm totally okay with that. What you see here, I'm totally on board with that. So this right here, all these lovely graphics, they're fantastic, right? Even the fact that they're faded away, that's a good idea. That's a good touch here. It's debatable, but I think it's a good idea. Now, the fact that we have a person here and the top of her head is actually going above this photo is, again, beautiful stuff. Clients love these things. Clients absolutely adore these things. It's for whatever reason, this overlapping action, it's just something that they're really drawn to. Plus, the girl actually looks nice, and it's really high quality, and the shirt is eye-catching as well. So that's pretty good. What's not great is the amount of lorem ipsum here. What's not great is the fact that you see you have this empty space here because the rest of it is covered by a graphic. So you move all this content here in this top position. The trouble is it looks unbalanced. For my eye, at least, this looks unbalanced. What I would do is I would be happy with some overlap. I would lower the opacity of this graphic, and I would move all this a bit down. This is what I would do. Something centered, basically, right? And even though my text would go over a tiny bit of this specific graphic because the opacity is a bit lowered, it would still look nice. Another thing, I would absolutely break this up into 2 paragraphs because obviously that's the normal way to go about it. This is covered in Mastered Web Design in Photoshop. Having a block of text is never appealing, right? Now, another thing, you can immediately see that we have one font here and another one here, right? That's not cool, especially since these are 2 different calls to action, right? And having a different width is again not cool actually, right? So this is whatever that is, 200, and this is what, 240? Yeah, 240, right? So this is not cool. Using your you basically have to stay consistent. I'll leave it like that. You have to stay consistent. Set up a certain button size to 40 by 60, and that's it. Don't change it up. There's no need to change it up. And if you have 2 distinct actions, log in versus buy now or whatever, make sure you have 2 different looks, right? One should be red, one should be blue or whatever, or outlined or whatever, white, whatever. But yeah, using this approach is not cool. I also don't like the fact that, okay, this font is pretty good, it's pretty interesting, but I don't think it actually shows up anywhere else. It actually shows up here. If we zoom out, we can actually see that there's way too many fonts here. I think we have at least 3 different fonts, and that's not a good combination. It looks more like a mistake, not something that's done on purpose. Yes, we have 1 here, 2, 3 basically, and 4. We have 4 in total. Not cool. So this is quite disappointing that we have so many fonts, but it is what it is. Now, this divider is something that's been plaguing me, that's been on my mind for loads of years. How do you actually change, from the hero section to the sub-hero section to the content section? And it's something where, again, from my findings, clients, what they usually like is a soft transition. They don't like something harsh, and this is a very harsh transition. This band right here is no good, no bueno. And that's because it really breaks things up. It really looks like a belt, but a belt like you're in all white and you have a black belt. It just screams way too much. It draws your attention way too much. It focuses your eyes. And for what? Because this is just a title. This is just for decorative purposes. So this is a place where you would have to do something completely different. I don't have something in mind right now, because I understand that obviously because the girl is right here, you have to separate it. You can't remove this bar and just have this specific color right here, because obviously just her floating about would not be cool. Yeah, I'm not really sure what you should do here, but this obviously doesn't work. Now, more things that are very straightforward. Obviously, this is not cool. So this card right here, the text is way too small and there's no call to action. And because there's only 3, there's no reason to actually label them 1, 2, 3. There's no need for that. I understand that probably the client wanted something like how it works, but this right here, it doesn't seem like a process. This is where you can add a dotted line and increase your letter spacing to something huge, right? And you can place it behind the actual items, and obviously have a low opacity, something whatever, like 30%, 40%, or something like that. But yeah, just having these cards right here, it just doesn't do anything. And I would say that this is again a staple of it just shows your lack of experience. Because again, this is what 10 pixels, 11 pixels is totally unacceptable. In 2021, you should not use 10 pixels for your body text. Celebrate your coffee moments with the community. Bring value to the coffee business by supporting your local. Okay, so we have a typo here, and we have another one right here. That's obviously not a great fit. And I think this is a double space right here. And this is again a mistake because there is no space between your punctuation marks, only after them. So we have one title here and a totally different one right here. Click below should not be capitalized. And then we have another call to action. This is probably taken from FreePick, and it's quite disappointing because let me know regarding which one is the winner. Let me know which one is the winning design, because it should be really clear by now. Moving on down, and I promise I'm gonna stop with the review and I'll let you know the winner in a moment. We have blue here. Why we have blue here beats me. This doesn't make any sense. And more than that, we have no avatar whatsoever, and we actually have a 3-star rating. Including such a thing when you're actually gonna show this to your client doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's ridiculous, right? And the wow, okay, it just actually hit me. So we have sorry, it's so listen. What probably happened here? This should have been a standalone review box. These other two probably should not be here, right? But what the designer did, he probably thought, man, this is way too empty, right? This is way too empty. Now, the idea behind it was pretty simple. You have one single thing and you can add more content, right? You take this and you place it whatever to the side, and you can add more content to whatever other place, right? That would be the idea. Now, unfortunately, one more second. You can see that this is basically a rotator. You can use this to actually cycle through the reviews, right? And that would make sense if there's only one of them, right? Because you want a small place for the reviews, and you actually want the rest of the width to be covered by something else. So again, having a rotator and having this type of design actually makes sense. But then the designer just multiplied it. He just added 3 more. So then you can change the review here, and what if you change the review here, is it gonna be the same as this one? So if this is review number 1 and this is review number 2 and this is review number 3, what's gonna happen when you change this to number 2? It just doesn't make any sense. It's not something that you ever see on any website. So this is a major mistake. And then obviously enter your email address. We actually have the same text as subscribe here and the one from here, which doesn't make any sense. The lack of consistency is not cool. And we have a very unbalanced design right here. And you can see it's one of the most, it's something that happens so often, unfortunately, with beginners. This is skewed. This is to the side. You're not supposed to have, why is this not visible? Fill stroke, no stroke, and the fill should be red. Why is this not visible? Huh, interesting. Is it not set to shape? It is. In any case, you can see that this is to the side. This weighs heavily on the left side and there's nothing here on the right side. This is a classic mistake, a classic beginner mistake. What you have to do is you have to chop this up and move it someplace here, right? Or just simply hide it. Hide it and that's totally fine, right? But don't, I repeat, do not use it like this. So this is what you actually want, right? Balanced. Even so, you still have something here, but you can easily take this and move it just a bit down, or maybe actually move it one underneath each other, right? So something like this, and then obviously like this, and move it down, and then you would write follow whatever, right? And that would be that, right? So that's how I would I will go through it. Now, looking at them both, who do you think is the actual winner? If the second one, I'll throw my laptop away. Okay, it's actually the first one. The first one is the winner. The first one is the winner, and it makes total sense because when you just look at them all the way zoomed out, you can see that the color scheme right here is a total mess. We have red, we have yellow, we have blue, and brown. Doesn't make any sense. We also have a shade of gray that doesn't gel well with this specific shade of cream or gray, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, overall, this is a mess. The color scheme is a total mess, and it would be really easy to correct because, listen, if you choose yellow and red, this is totally fine, right? But when you add in all different types of colors that are really strong, then it just breaks away. So this is a very easy win. This is actually a poor design. I challenge you to create it in under 1 hour, in under 60 minutes. And I can assure you that you'll be able to do it. Because in terms of execution, just look at it. We have a clipping mask here, a clipping mask here, here. That's it. We have lorem ipsum. We have 4 icons. This is incredibly simple. This is extremely basic. But again, even though this has, look, let's say this takes you 60 minutes. This would take you probably 3 hours, right? Unfortunately, those hours don't reflect in the actual quality of the design. Sure, spending a lot of time to look for these graphics, obviously, they're beautiful. Looking for this girl, again, beautiful. Looking for this cup of coffee, again, beautiful. But at the end of the day, if you don't know how to mix them, how to make sure they blend together, it doesn't make any sense, right? So this is why so many designers actually give up, because they work so much, they work so hard, 3 hours, and then they watch something that looks like a template and they say, man, this is so unfair. This is so unfair. I worked for 3 hours, 4 hours to create something special, unique with various graphics and whatnot, and beautiful imagery and whatnot, and blending modes and layer masks. And look, imagine if he actually spent the time to actually cut this off from a background. Imagine that, right? And actually refining it and creating the reflection himself, or finding these graphics and creating the button. Okay, this is why so many designers are actually frustrated. This is why so many people actually give up, because obviously you spend the time, but it's not well thought out. It's not decent energy, right? It's like trying to build muscle with a 1 pound dumbbell, right? It's like me trying to make muscle with my remote control, and I'm doing loads of work, but my muscles aren't growing, and people, this is what people do. And then they're surprised that, man, I'm not getting any results. I'm putting so much time into it, so much effort into it, so much passion into it, and I'm not getting any results. Why is that, Chris? Chris, please help me. Well, again, what I would say in very basic terms is, first and foremost, what I say in the course: stay consistent. If you chose Montserrat, stick with Montserrat, right? It's what I said in the beginning. If you want to mix it up, use a separate font, totally different, that looks totally different. But look, when you have a call to action that looks like this, and another one that looks like this, which is probably Oswald, and another one that looks like this, you're not doing yourself any favors, right? You're not doing, you're basically sabotaging yourself. And again, the color scheme, my God, what do I say in all my courses? Go and find inspiration. Look at the biggest companies in the world and see what they're doing. And you're not going to find the biggest companies in the world using red and yellow and gray and cream and blue and brown. Come on. See what I'm going? It's not a matter of effort. It's about working smart. This is why I say in my freelancing course, work smart, work hard, work long enough, and results will come. But in actuality, this is what gets so many people demotivated. This is why so many people, so many designers get fed up, because obviously this shows much more skill. The one on the right shows much more skill, right? In terms of actual Photoshop use, it shows more skill, because he actually tried different things with, again, various things with a layer mask and a fadeaway and some various other things, right? But that's not what people care about. Clients don't care about how much you suffer. Clients don't care about that. If it's 60 minutes or 600 minutes, they don't care about that. So don't act like you're the victim. You chose to make your life more difficult. You chose to fine tune all these things. And again, just imagine how much this took if the designer actually spent the time to actually cut it from its background, right? But if you make so basic mistakes, so many basic mistakes like this one here, just copying something and just duplicating it without any, because man, look, it's not cool. Just think about what you're doing. Think about what's gonna happen when you click here. Because again, I know I just said that when you're a designer participating in design competitions, you don't have to think about how it's gonna be implemented or how it's actually gonna work. But in the long run, you're really shooting yourself in the leg here by designing something that's so obviously wrong, right? And again, in all of my courses, I stay consistent, and having a submit button that's brown, a subscribe button that's so different, take the quiz different, get started different. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win, and you don't have anyone else to blame but yourself. So what you have to do is you have to regroup. Go and look at the fundamentals, at the principles of web design that I described. Stay consistent, and you're gonna be golden. Now it's true that this other guy didn't do anything. Didn't do some basic things as well, right? Having things left aligned, using so much lorem ipsum and whatever. Creating something that's basically a template. But he was lucky. That's the truth. He got lucky. And between these two, I would choose the one on the left as well. I would not waste my time to actually give you feedback. Because listen, let me just end on this. Imagine this. I submitted this design, this one. I sent it to you, right? And now I just talked about it for 36 minutes, maybe 20 minutes I spent just on this one. Now, please give me feedback. Chris, feedback me. That's how some people write in the Review My Work channel. Feedback me. So you guys, please tell me, could you write what's wrong with that design? So you're the contest holder. You've just seen me go through all the mistakes, right? Some of the mistakes, maybe 70% of the mistakes, right? And if you fix all those mistakes, it's not like the design is going to be a 10 out of 10. It's probably going to be a 7 out of 10, right? So even if you correct everything, it's not going to be an outstanding design. I think we can all agree on that, right? So now again, I pass the microphone to you. I pass the keyboard to you. Feedback me. Sir, please give feedback. Okay, how are you supposed to answer? This is why you're eliminated. This is why so many designers get eliminated or get 1 star and no feedback. Because it's impossible. It's impossible for me to condense everything that I've said into what? How many paragraphs? Should I write a novel for you regarding what's wrong with your design? Because listen, this is going to be what? 2 A4 pages. I should go point by point by point, section by section. That's impossible. So again, if you're upset that you're not winning, even though you spent a whole lot of time on it, if you're upset that you get rejected or you get 1 star reviews without any actual reviews, without any comments or feedback, this is why this happens so often. Because clients are fed up. Because clients can't untangle the mess that you've created. They can't, say a few magical words and you're gonna fix it, and then all of a sudden the design is gonna be incredible. That's not what's gonna happen. So please keep this in mind the next time you work on these design competitions. And one more thing, remember, the level is so low. This is why I'm continuing with these live streams. The level is so low. If you're a decent designer, you can easily win 3, 4, 5 design competitions per month. It may not be a lot of money. It may only be whatever, $200, $300 per design competition. But I promise you, it's going to be so easy. It's going to be so easy because all you have to do is look at Master Web Design in Photoshop, look at the 40 Practical Projects course, so you can actually get some more techniques, more design techniques and color combinations and fonts and whatnot. Submit 3, 4 entries, maybe 5 entries per contest, and I promise you, you're gonna win. I promise you, you're gonna win because again, what I'm seeing day in, day out, when people message me, private message me designs from various competitions, the level is incredibly low. And if this design managed to win, again, even if it's $200, but think about that, if it's $200 and you only spent 2 hours on it, it's worth it. Again, it's not a huge sum of money. It's not gonna allow you to live in a 2-bedroom apartment in New York or London. It's not a whole lot of money, but it's something, right? It's money in your bank account. So please, again, watch those courses. Make sure you understand them. Make sure you don't have any technical executions. Make sure that your execution is impeccable. Really focus on the things that I say regarding, again, staying consistent, again, regarding color combinations, regarding your typography, regarding your image use and whatnot, and then you're gonna win. It's as easy as that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is Chris signing out, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you.